Since many of you guys were so enlightened by the last taunt video and have been really patient with me, I present to you all of YouTube my masterpiece, my pièce de résistance, my obra prima, my chef-d'œuvre, and my obra maestra. And I guess those of you who are the Philippines, my obra maestra. I present the Bryan Taunt Guide Part 2. Hit it, Crossroads. Hit it. Hello, I'm Peter, and we're here to make progress, not perfection. Alright, on this channel we bring you top quality Tekken content ranging anywhere from in-depth guides to just hilariously entertaining content in general. Below in the descriptions, you'll notice that I have links to the timestamp for this video, as well as links to my Discord, Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon page. If you're new here and you like what you see, consider subscribing, and hey, if you feel like donating, head on over to the Patreon page. And now let's get to today's topic. This video is an intermediate Bryan guide where we're going to talk about Bryan's taunt follow-ups and taunt setups. So, if you don't already know the basics of Bryan's taunt, check the video up there. Right there, I have a card for the last video that I did on Bryan's taunt, but for this one, we're going to do follow-ups and setups. Let's go. The taunt follow-ups. I'm going to cover them from the easiest option to the hardest options. If you notice anything missing, stay away from them. They either are impractical or have some hidden pitfalls. We'll start with the easiest options, which have some wiggle room for error. Then the medium follow-up difficulty options, which only have about 2 frames of wiggle room. And then we finally will get to the hard follow-ups, which have 0 room for error. Okay? 0 room for error. Taunt 1-4. This is a super easy. This is the taunt option for noobs. While only dealing 21 points of damage, it does the job of closing out rounds and getting some plus frames. Since you're watching this guide, I'm assuming you already have the basics down with Bryan and understand how to work with plus 4 frames of advantage. Taunt 4-3, a very easy option. Taunt 4-3 is the next progression and does the most damage out of all the easy taunt options at 27 points of damage. However, what it gains in damage, it loses in frames of advantage, ending at +2 instead of the +4 that 1-4 does. So be careful about pressing the advantage too much after landing this. Taunt down forward 2-1. This is an easy option. The last of the easy options is down forward 2-1, and it is the middle of the ground between the first two, which is Taunt 1-4 and Taunt 4-3. This option deals 2 more damage than Taunt 1-4, but still keeps the +4 frames of advantage that Taunt 4-3 loses. Use this option when you want something in between a Taunt 1-4 and a Taunt 4-3. Taunt forward 2-1-4. Many Bryan players will immediately, by the way, all of these options I'm about to list are going to be medium level taunt options, so medium level difficulty. Now, many players will immediately feel it dropping in consistency when transitioning from an easy to a medium level taunt option, so expect a learning curve. Expect a learning curve, guys. The first medium taunt option is Taunt forward 2-1-4, and it is the most damaging medium taunt option out in the open, raking in 42 points of damage. This is chunky. And if you thought that was good, at the wall, we're guaranteed a down 4 for this option, which bumps the damage even higher to 52 points of damage. However, if messed up, Taunt forward 2-1-4 does put us at -13, which can be moderately punished. Taunt down forward 1-1-1-1-2. Because Taunt forward 214 is challenging to execute and can be moderately punished. Taunt down forward 11112 is a solid alternative that loses out on some damage in exchange for being less punishable, because each iteration of the down forward 1 is only minus 10. And because of this, we're really not going to be punished too hard, 10 frame punish versus minus 13 frame punish. So consider using this as a safer option to close out a round, or if you're still getting used to the medium level taunt options, use this. Taunt down back 1+2. To round out the last of all the medium taunt options, we have taunt down back 1+2. Taunt down back 1+2 breaks walls and allows for some ridiculous damaging combos in the process. It does less damage, however, than taunt forward 214 out in the open, and is equally as difficult to time, but it breaks walls. So use this option if the opponent has their back to a breakable wall. Taunt back 4. This is a hard option. Now for the next jump to the big boy territory, and if you felt transitioning from the easy to the medium taunt options was hard, prepare your anus. Prepare your anus. Taunt back 4 is a just frame follow-up. So the back and the 4 input need to be placed at the exact same time on the exact same frame that taunt lands. There is no room for error, and this taunt follow-up yields the best wall combo damage, hands down. Out in the open, it really doesn't lead to much other than a guaranteed mock punch, if you can land it. But taunt back 4 is the first of the hard options that Bryan has for taunt. Taunt forward back 2, or the infamous taunt jet upper. This is the final form of any Bryan player. This is where Super Saiyans, this is where Jimmy J Trans are made. The taunt jet upper. If taunt back 4 is hard for you, then taunt jet upper is gonna be fucking impossible. This is the bad boy of all taunt options because it is a triple just frame, meaning there is absolutely no room for error. Which is fair because this attack is basically an unblockable launcher if performed properly. I won't go into detail on how to master this technique because it's so time consuming and I don't have enough time in this video to cover it, but stay tuned for later videos. If you have mastered this technique enough to land it consistently, make sure to use it over and over and above all other options. That's all I have to say about this. But wait, it appears I have left out an option. Hey Peter, what about taunt 2-3? What about taunt 2-3? Taunt 2-3 does more damage than taunt 1-4. And taunt 2-3 is an easy taunt option, and it gives +6 frames on hit. Why didn't you talk about this? Well, to be honest, we should stay away from taunt 2-3 at all costs because of this reason right here. Yep. Even if taunt hits, the 2-3 might not land as a natural combo. The reason for this is Bryan's 2 jab has really bad range. I've seen many times where the taunt lands and the 2 just whiffs. So therefore the 3 can be blocked. And before you all start commenting that I'm only showing it on small hurtbox characters, here's some examples of it missing on regular hurtbox characters. Yep, regular hurtbox characters. And oh, yeah, by the way, here is it again on some big hurtbox characters. See this shit right here? See this shit right here? Shit's inconsistent, man. It's inconsistent. Now, before I go into taunt setups, you should know that most of the time, not all, taunt setups are meant to catch tech rolling opponents. The time it takes an opponent to tech roll is roughly about the amount of time it takes to perform a taunt, which is why taunt is so amazing at catching opponents who tech roll. And being a mid-hitting unblockable helps a lot too. All the examples I'm about to show are going to involve catching opponents tech rolling. And outside of tech rolls, taunt is almost never guaranteed. Common taunt setups. Let's go over the 3 most common taunt situations in order of easiest to hardest to land taunt from. First up, we have the standard wall Oki. Remember this video? So what exactly is it about these combos that make it so good for Oki? Well, as many of you Bryan players already know, after one of these Oki wall combos, you can taunt and use it to catch tech rolls and deal massive amounts of damage. Well guys, for better or for worse, this is the easiest place to land taunt. After landing a wall combo ending with a down back 1+2, we can easily land a taunt to catch tech rolls. This is where the majority of our taunt setups will happen. 3+4 and down forward 2-3. Out in the open, away from walls, it is fairly hard to catch tech rolls, but one of the few places where we can is after landing 3+4 or down forward 2-3 on regular hit. These moves have a crumple knockdown, which gives us enough time to run into the opponent and catch a tech roll with a taunt. Do note that this timing is difficult and does need to be practiced. If the run is performed too slowly or the taunt is not timed correctly, the opponent can tech roll and backdash away out of the taunt attempt. Quarter circle forward 3-4. Now, it is incredibly rare to land a taunt setup after any move without knocking the opponent down. But with quarter circle forward 3-4, where the second hit lands as a counter hit, it makes it possible where the opponent is forced to get up at a set time. Out in the open, we will need to do a very deep dash into a very specifically timed taunt. This is fucking hard as hell to do properly. If the timing isn't perfect, then the opponent can just backdash away from the pressure of the taunt. However, if the opponent does happen to be up against the wall, the opponent is unable to backdash away. Well, because there's a fucking wall behind them. And then this suddenly becomes very easy to set up. Now that we've gone over common taunt setups, let's go over some uncommon taunt setups, or you can call it niche taunt setups. This list is by no means a full and exhaustive breakdown of every single possible taunt setup, but I like to think of it as quite an extensive and a starting place, a good base to get some ideas on developing your own taunt setups. The first group of uncommon taunt setups are a bunch of moves that revolve around the opponent being roughly 2 backdashes away from the wall. At this distance, they will splat at the wall, but there's no time to perform a wall combo. There is, however, time enough to dash in to a taunt to catch tech rolling opponents. And the attacks that allow for this are as follows. Full crouch, down forward 2-1, snake rampage, down 3-2, quick low screw punch, down 2-3, python crush, and down back 1+2, crash impact. Do note that even if crash impact lands on an opponent who is point blank at the wall, we still get a taunt setup. And this is in part because of the way that it interacts with the wall and still provides a low wall splat where we can't combo. The last group of uncommon taunt setups is kind of a mishmash, a miscellaneous category that I couldn't fit into anything particular because they all have little tiny rules associated with them. So here they are. First up is down 3+4 2, Knuckle Whip. The opponent needs to be roughly 1.5 backdashes away from the wall for a run-up taunt setup attempt. Any further away from the wall, the opponent won't connect with the wall, and any closer to the wall, we just end up getting a wall splat. So this is a very specific spacing that you need, 1.5 backdashes away from the wall. Next up, forward forward 2, good old Mach Punch. The opponent needs to be here roughly 1 backdash away from the wall in order for a run-up taunt attempt. Any further away, the opponent won't connect with the wall, and again, any closer to the wall, we just end up getting a wall splat. So, this is what it is. Next up, back 2-1-4, Wolf Bite. Now, some of you guys oftentimes misjudge or misaccount for the wall. Now this is very common. So if we land a Wolf Bite and the last hit happens to splat the opponent, followed by a low wall slump. During the slump, we can run in and taunt to catch a tech roll. And the last one up, and we've already seen this move, quarter circle forward 3-4. But this time, we're landing it as the first hit as a counter hit. If we land double knees where the first hit is a counter hit, then the opponent's back, with the opponent's back directly at the wall, we can get another low wall slump taunt setup. The timing is a little bit tricky. If we buffer the triple taunt a little too early, what ends up happening is we miss and we don't get the taunt. We need to delay the input slightly, just a little bit, to ensure that it tracks to the opponent. Combo taunt setups. Now this is the last of the taunt setups that I have for you guys, and I want to preface by saying we typically want to finish our combos to get the max damage and wall carry as possible. However, sometimes it is worth dropping a combo in order to go for a taunt attempt, mostly because opponents are often just either mashing the tech roll button hoping that when we do drop a combo they can somehow slip out, or sometimes there are no nearby walls where we can get a wall splat from. If this is indeed the case, then dropping a combo to go for a taunt setup can be a worthwhile gamble. However, in order to make this gamble worth it, there's a stipulation. We need to be able to at least pull off a medium taunt follow-up. Now, let's go over the combo taunt setups. First up, I'm going to talk about combos that have typically 4 or less aerial hits. So if we have a combo that has 4 or less aerial hits, then we can use down back 2 or quarter circle forward 3 to initiate a taunt setup. The purpose of using these two enders, you can choose either one, these two enders, is to lift the opponent up high enough to set up a taunt attempt, where we close the distance between ourselves and the opponent to catch an opponent should they tech roll. If the opponent does tech roll and we have timed everything properly, we should be able to catch them with a taunt attempt. The next one is using quarter circle forward 3-4 to initiate a taunt setup. As long as the combo has 3 or less aerial hits after the launcher, we can use quarter circle forward 3-4 to initiate a taunt setup. This is very similar to what we just previously talked about with the down back 2 and the quarter circle forward 3. However, in my opinion, using quarter circle forward 3-4 is a little bit more tricky with the timing, so do be aware of that. These taunt setups that I just gave you guys are kind of gimmicky and not really guaranteed, so use them with your discretion. But overall, sometimes it's just probably better to go for the flat out damage and the max wall carry and combo potential that you have. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for sitting through this video, and I know it's been a long time coming, especially for the taunt setups and the, I guess, taunt follow-ups video. I just want to say thank you all for those of you who have been patient with me and letting me take my time in developing this Bryan guide to incorporate more aspects of it. This is probably where I'm going to start slowing down the Bryan content, because I do have other viewers who aren't just only Bryan mains. I know. Surprisingly shocking. But anyways, thanks guys for taking the time to view this video, and if you've enjoyed any of this content whatsoever, feel free to leave me a like, comment, or subscribe. And hey, again, if you feel like donating, head on over to the Patreon page. I'd greatly appreciate that. Once again, thank you patrons. You guys have been such a big help to grow this channel, and you guys have been without a doubt contributing to the increased quality of the videos, as well as the amount of time that I get to spend on the videos just in general. So without further ado, thank you guys. I'm Peter, and I'm signing out. I'm exhausted. Take care and see you next time.